So, Two and a Half Men actor John Cryer and Bill Maher got into a heated argument about gender affirming care and women's issues. And if you make Bill Maher sound like someone on the far right, then you know you have problems, because John Cryer is a moron. He's probably the reason Charlie Sheen got mad and turned towards drugs, because he's saying we can compare gender affirming care to the acceptance of left-handedism, where we should just let these people become trans and we're just not accepting individuals. But that might be the worst analogy of all time. I think he's forgetting that being left-handed doesn't involve gender hormone therapy medication or chopping off healthy body parts, but what do I know? Nobody chopped off their left hand to become right-handed. These Hollywood celebrities' political positions should honestly be kept to themselves.
You're asking too much often to rewrite like the idea that when someone is born, there is a default setting for humans, male and female. Not everyone is. Now, a real conservative would say, no, everyone is. I would never say that.
But
I think
there are chromosomal spectrums.
There's a default setting,
hermaphroditism.
but then there's a whole other section, and that's great, and we should protect those people. But don't pretend there isn't also a default setting. And you can't rewrite the world so that every baby is just a jump ball. Oh, it could be anything. No, if it's got a dick, it's probably a boy. And if it's
Probably.
not, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in a compassionate way.
Well, yeah,
but we'll also be apprised of the idea that children don't know shit about anything. Yes, sometimes it is obvious, and we should address it that way. But I mean, kids, Christ Almighty! I mean, the idea that I would, as a child, would have had to have dealt with something like this.
Well, again, the people that go through it don't say this is the life I want. No parent wants to be in the midst of those choices. It's terrifying.
Some kids these days actually just do want to be trans.
I
It's
don't
cooler,
agree.
John.
I don't
It's
agree.
a thing.
Nope.
Oh,
I don't agree.
come on.
I don't agree with Bill Maher.
I know.
That's the name of the show tonight.
Well, your eyes are not open to that, I
Okay.
think.
Well,
okay. There are some kids, especially, why is it like so much more prevalent, like here than Indiana?
Well,
are they suppressing it there? Maybe a little.
There's
but
a societal suppression, but it's like left-handedism. Being left-handed was suppressed for for thousands of years amongst human beings. But once it was apparently in the 30s, scientists basically said there's no left-handedness doesn't actually do anything bad.
Right.
Left-handedness shot up. People just stopped training themselves to be right-handed. And this has happened societally before, and that's the closest analog that I can think of.
If you have a trans child, it's because the parents abused their child into affirming they are something they are not, even though we can convince kids to believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. So if you're telling me kids can consent to irreversible surgeries, you are off your rocker. This is a mental illness. It's a disease that should not be encouraged. It should be treated. And guess what the number one way to treat someone with a condition? Oh, tell them no. And I could even argue there should be more debate on 18 years and older trans surgeries. Are they mentally ill enough to be able to consent? I highly doubt they have the ability to consent. I mean, they can say yes or no, but are we going to allow someone, like, for example, with autism to go through gender transition surgeries? These people are not in the right mental state, and we have different medical associations taking advantage of them. But let's transition the conversation to women's rights. That was a good pun. To women's rights. We all know liberals are full-on feminism until it's convenient for them. So that would include the draft, paying the bill, and the Muslim community. They love women's rights but hate speaking on the requirement for hijabs and really no rights for women in the Muslim religion because of how tolerant and accepting they are.
They also did a great piece some years ago about a woman in London who was in the Muslim neighborhoods, and they're screaming at her because she's wearing a skirt and stuff like that. And the point of it was, there are places in Western civilizations that are like run not by Western standards.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean they're just different.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are cultural enclaves everywhere.
Right, but we should agree that women should be able to wear what they want.
Yes.
If you don't agree with that, then you're not a liberal to begin with.
Well,
women,
yes.
Call me a crazy liberal, but I think women should have freedom.
I agree as well.
Okay.
I agree as well.
But they don't in these neighborhoods. It was the 60 Minutes piece that they did.
One could argue that women don't have the freedom to dress where they are dress how they want to dress in many places. They used to get catcalled all the time. They used to, there was...
Used to.
Well,
we're talking about now.
Well...
Yeah, a lot of shit used to happen, but what's going on now in the world? Would you really want to have your wife live in Gaza or any
Well,
place where no, well, I mean before
war-torn strip of desert.
no, even before
No,
the
that's,
war,
you know.
where she would have to cover up.
Well, again, that's not. I don't live there. I'm not. It's not my culture. You know.
But yeah, and you won't judge it.
I'm not going to judge it. No. But again,
See,
this is not
that's crazy woke to me.
Okay.
That's where it all went off the rails. When we became so tolerant that we tolerate intolerance. I mean, you would never allow something like that to happen in this country. If they proposed a law tomorrow at the LA City Council, women have to cover their face when they go out. I assume you'd be against that.
Well, yes, I would.
I like that quote. We become so tolerant that we tolerate intolerance. And it's not just liberals being tolerant of the Muslim religion that hates the LGBT community, mind you, as well. They became so tolerant of race movements like Black Lives Matter that they think violence is the answer. Segregating black college dorms is fine because of culture. Removing someone's First Amendment right because offensive language, even though it could be reversed on them someday. They think they are so forward thinkers that they are taking their movements backwards in time.